good morning, and well, afternoon now. So, welcome to Amplify's Tune Up for this week. This week, we are going to be continuing our 12-week process of going through the entire F&I process from customer interview to menu presentations, how to set up our menu, and then also working and understanding all of our F&I products. So, today, we are going to be going through another F&I product, just really dialing it in. Hopefully, you guys can garner a couple things to talk about with the new program. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for to make sure that we understand the entire product front to back, not just a way to
Mhm.
pitch it, not just a way to, oh, well, here I can mention it. We want to have a full understanding of it. So, not only is that big, like we've talked about last week, it's going to build credibility, make you look more knowledgeable in front of the customer because you are. And it allows you to educate that customer and not just sell them. You're not trying to just sell a customer. Here's a pitch, here's a line. You can actually tailor it to them. And that goes back to that customer interview that we talked about, where you've got that customer interview. You want to use that and then tailor that information they give you from that interview, and how can you apply it to this? But the only way you can do that is if you fully understand every program. So it's going to create that natural transition, and that's what we want. And that's what we're looking for. So this week we are going through the F&I product knowledge is the 1 year pre-owned VSC. It's a great program that we have that a lot of people need to take more advantage of because of it affects every pre-owned vehicle or unit on your lot. So let's dive in right now. So it's a vehicle service contract, and what it is it's 4 terms. You have 4 terms. You have a 1 month, a 3 month, a 6 month, and a 1 year, and it gives you the ability to put some kind of contract, vehicle service contract on your pre-owned stuff, and it goes back 20 model years. Reason this is big, you do start doing a lot of research, a lot of warranty companies, a lot of places, they only go back 10, maybe 12. Some of them will go back 14 or 15 years, but this will go back 20 model years. So you have that 2008 sitting on your lot and someone comes in, this is going to give them that peace of mind. Hey, listen, we can put some warranty or some vehicle service contract coverage on your 2008. Not a lot of people are going to be offered that. So it's an advantage to you guys who offer that Amplify program. Now, it is an extensive stated coverage. We're going to walk through that, and we want to make sure you understand the differences. Last week, we went through our new and used VSC program, and we talked about how that's an exclusionary policy, and we went through on how all that works. And if you want to watch that, if you weren't here last week, you can see it on YouTube. Shameless plug, but that's okay. That's what we do here. All right. So, stated coverage. What is stated coverage? Stated coverage is where we actually list on the contract what is covered on the VSC. So you can literally walk through with the customer what's covered on the vehicle service contract. And we want to make sure that we're explaining this to customers because that portion of the contract, and you can print it out and read it for yourself and print it out. And I suggest showing it to a customer when you're talking about this. That portion goes through everything. So the customer, it eliminates that, well, I had this covered one time and it never got covered, or this didn't cover it. It's like, it's covered right here. So you can actually walk through it with them. And when people see that on paper, that's going to make a very, very big difference in you selling the customer or not. So, stated coverage. Now, this is the clip from the contract. I hope everybody has a large screen monitor, so it makes it a little bit easier to read this. But you want to make sure with this stated coverage that you walk through this and you can see right up here, it says the motor, ATV, UTV, scooter components. So it'll walk through on a motorcycle or an ATV what's actually going to be covered. And it's a lot. That's why I say it's an extensive stated coverage policy, because it's not only going to be covering like the engine, internally lubricated parts, the manifold, the oil pump, the fan motor, valves. You start listing these things out to customers, they're going to start understanding, wow, I'm getting a lot of coverage. Walking through it though, we want to make sure you understand, like, cooling system covers the radiator, water pump, impeller shaft, The difference between a good finance manager and the great ones is that they will go through things that you may think of as a finance manager and but the customer may not. And sometimes you may just say transmission. Everybody knows what's in a transmission. I can guarantee you half your customers have no clue what is in a transmission. So if you take this and you start talking to a customer and start going through it and just not say, your tranny's covered, that's going to be a big difference between like I said, those average F&I people and the great ones. The great ones are going to say, listen, it's going to cover your transmission, all those internal lubricated parts, the gears, the bearings, the internal drive gears. You can start really walking through that, and it does a couple things. One, makes you more educated in front of the customer. They're more going to trust you because now they know, all right, this guy's talking about not just a transmission, it's not just a pitch. He's actually listing out the parts. And you can have the proof right here with the contract you can show them. So you're able to walk through it. So it's a huge portion to make sure that you've got this printed out when you're going through all this. Now, I do want to walk through a few more of these.
For a North
Um,
Star Ranger
make
similar to that
oh,
one handicap spot. I said, "Oh, that's
hey
yours."
Kenny, you want to give me a mute there?
You made a fake.
I'm muting it now.
Thanks, sir. I like it. He's working deals and training at the same time. Multitask. Nice work, Kenny. Um, So along with this, you've got your drive axle assembly, the steering components, braking, and the braking is a huge one. And I really want to focus on the brakes. And here's the reason why: is like I talked about earlier, there are some customers who aren't 100% sure on some of these things, what there is, what's in a transmission, but everybody knows about brakes. So if you go and you say, look, brakes, the braking backing plates, the brake hubs, the discs, the rotors, that's something that and like I said, I did this training yesterday too. I hope that every customer knows what brakes are and what they do. So, if not, how did you get here? But with the brakes, that's something that every customer should know about. And that way, when you touch upon it, they're gonna know, okay, I know what the brakes are. Yes, I know what this is. Some of these other parts they may not know, but this one's a huge one. So I recommend getting with your service department and making sure how much it is to swap out, master cylinder assembly on the brakes. I know it's going to be machine specific, but having a good range, that's always going to be helpful. So make sure that you're walking through that with the customers and giving them those real world examples. That's just going to make this even more credible. So moving on to, I'm sorry, someone's at the door. Moving on to second page. Now, I'm going to go back here to the first page. You'll look at, and that was the motorcycle breakdown. I wanted to mention right here, it says snowmobile components right here. So it breaks down for the snowmobile components. The next page that I'm going to go to now goes through personal watercraft and the jet boat components. So depending upon what you're selling and what you have at your dealership, you're going to want to make sure you know what section of the contract you're going through. So you've got all of that available to you. And like I said, reading that contract and going over with the customer, that's a big one. So things that we want to make sure come with this coverage. Everybody's going to get roadside assistance coverage, which is great. So it's going to be for the term that they have picked out. So if it's a 6-month contract, they're getting 6 months emergency roadside assistance. So 1 year, they get 1 year coverage. $0 deductible. Now, the deductible is something you want to make sure you point out to the customer. Don't hide it from them. Listen, it's a $0 deductible as long as you have the work done here at our dealership. If you go to a different place and have the work done, it is a $100 deductible. Why this is important? It's a retention program. If the customer wants to save $100, they're going to come back to you. Then you have the opportunity not only to help the customer out, but you have another opportunity with your customer in your store. And we all know that retention programs are huge. And this is another way you can get them back in the store, add on service if need be, or, you never know. Well, gosh, that one sitting on the showroom floor looks really nice. What would my trade-in value be? As soon as you hear trade-in value words, everybody in sales knows happy times. So want to make sure that we mention that to the customer. And then lastly, all the VSCs are fully transferable. So if you want to have a customer, if they're going to sell it to a family member, a friend, or whatever it might be, let them know it's fully transferable. So if value adds to what they're buying, because it makes it a lot easier if you do want to sell it to have some kind of coverage to go with it, because it's the same value add that you're giving that customer. So something to make sure that we're always mentioning. All right. So here's some tips on how to present it. Like we spoke when we were going through the contract, make sure you're using real world examples, real world repair costs. That's big for customers because, and I'm hoping that's what a lot of people use. But if you're not, get with your service department and find out how much it is to have that brake repair done or something to do with the transmission. Have a couple. I usually recommend three or four, have a couple scenarios that you can go through with a customer. And you'll be surprised too if you start mentioning this, customers are just going to start talking to you about all the stuff that they've had go wrong on other machines. And then you just start shaking your head like, yeah, now you want to make sure you have coverage on that. Oh, this VSC would have covered that right there. So it wouldn't have cost you anything. So we should sign you up for it. Slide it over, have them sign it. So again, have those real world repair cost examples. It's going to make a big difference for you. Okay, simple, non-technical language. Make sure that you are talking to a customer as if you're talking to anybody else at lunch or however it might be. Stay away from I call it the car salesman jargon, where you've got these internal. Oh, someone's wanting to join. Hold on one sec. Let me let somebody in on the meeting. Oh, welcome back, Brad. All right. Make sure you're using that simple language and just talking to a customer. You don't want to start using any internal acronyms, things like that, because you might lose the customer. It's a conversation you might have with your service advisor every day, but that conversation you have with your service advisor has got to be definitely different than a customer. Remembering that your customer may be in one, two, three times a year, or maybe buying a unit once or twice every 4 or 5 years, that's important. They don't do it every day. So you need to make sure that you're using simple terms to really explain it. That way they don't feel overwhelmed. And lastly, the 1 year VSC, or as Angela, one of our founders, calls it, the old man tan program, it's huge for peace of mind. Like we said, going back to that 2008, if you're buying a 2008, you might have some thoughts in the back of your head like, man, it is 15, 16 years old. Is it something? Listen, we're able to give you some kind of, vehicle service contract on this. So the next 6 months, you can get used to your machine. You've got coverage. So if something big does come up, you're going to be taken care of. So those are big, big points to make sure that you're um, making mention of. I want to go back to one thing for the simple, non-technical language is, and Court, I'm stealing this from you. Um, like Court talked about with yesterday, gap insurance. A lot of us say gap insurance, but it's guaranteed asset protection. So you want to make sure you're saying that to a customer. Hey, this is guaranteed asset protection, otherwise known as gap insurance. You probably have it on your car. It's just like that, breaking it down so they know exactly what it is instead of just, hey, is this gap? Oh, your tranny's covered. We hear tranny, we might all think transmission, but some other customers might think something else. So again, use that simple language and it's gonna save you from some hot water situations, I promise you. Okay, so with the
Josh,
program,
can I add one thing real quick?
absolutely, please do
Um,
join in.
Yep. So one thing we did with this program is we created it as a blended rate. There's, it's one price for 1 month, one price for 3 months, and it doesn't matter if one price for 6 months, one price for 12 months. It doesn't matter what the unit is. Um, if it's a pre-owned Harley, if it's pre-owned side-by-side, ATV, jet ski, snowmobile, whatever it is, it's one blended rate for everything. And we did that so for ease of use for y'all, the dealer. Um, and the other part we wanted to do was, this is a VSC. You guys can upsell that and make some more money. or with the blended rate, it is one flat price, and you know how much. If you want to do as a value add, why buy here? You can include that in, do a 3-month automatic, and then upsell the 12-month. So it's really simple to know what your price is on every single unit, and there's no guessing. Hey, this machine might be X dollars, and that pre-owned Harley is going to be more, and this way everything's the same price, and you know how to structure the deals and make some more money. So we left that to be simple just for that. And with that, I'm done.
Well, right into the perfect slide for that, and that's the selling tip that we recommend is that preload. So make sure you get with your management teams and discuss making this since it is a one price for every unit, doesn't matter what it is. Make sure you get with your management teams. It might be good to just preload it. Start with a 1 month, 1,000 mile. It gives you something to advertise. It separates you from the dealer down the road who has nothing on their use or their pre-owned. And it's a perfect way, like Fort said, to upsell. Listen, you got a 1 month, we can stretch that out to 12 months and it's only going to cost you this. They've already got their foot in the door. They're already getting it. You're just making it longer instead of actually trying to sell the whole program. So like Court said, what a great way, because of the one price per term for all the machines that are covered. What a great way to do that. So something to maybe take back and say, hey, let's look at preloading our whole pre-owned inventory. Makes it easier to get your foot in the door for any kind of VSC upsell. So thank you, Court, on that one. Good leaning into that. Now, all good trainings always come with homework, and this one is no different. So this week for your homework is, I want you to make sure you go through your 1-year VSC contract, pick out a couple of those stated coverages, and go to your service department and find what those costs are, and have some examples ready that you can use. Have that ready, have it practice with some sales team members, practice with your management, practice with other F&I managers, whoever you can, because the smoother you sound when you're going through that, the easier this becomes. And that's the whole goal. So for your homework this week, make sure you're going out and getting a couple of those examples, have them in your back pocket and have them ready. And I can guarantee you're going to see some numbers improving. So I want to thank you guys. Like we said, we want to keep these short and sweet, about 15-20 minutes, just to kind of go over anything. Does anybody have any questions about the 1-year VSC? Kenny?
I do.
Okay. How can we answer? What can we answer for
I
you, Kenny?
had to grab the phone. Unlimited mileage on like a used bike. Good. I see Cord answer. Okay.
Yep.
Good deal. I just got a 2015 Ninja 1100 to guys buying in the morning, so now I can fill warranty.
There you go.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. Any other questions there, Kenny?
Just send me some deals. Oh, yeah, I don't do the deals. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll do what I can to send them your way, sir.
All right.
And we'll be here next week. Next week training, we're going to be going over lifetime battery, and we'll really dive deep into that. So be ready for that. And hope everybody has a great rest of your week.